Hi, I'm Danielle with Put a Finish on It. If you're a writer looking for an editor, let me know. Sara over at CrawfordReads tagged me to participate in the Sisterhood of the World Bloggers Award. So thank you, Sara. Here are my answers to the 10 questions she asked. Question 1, do you prefer physical books, ebooks, or audiobooks? And I definitely prefer physical books. I actually don't like audiobooks because I feel like it's just someone talking at me continuously and I can't stop and reread or look back at something, and it just is kind of overwhelming auditorily. I haven't read ebooks much because I feel like it's hard on my eyes to stare at a screen. So I'm kind of old school that way. Question 2, what is your favorite book to read in winter? I don't really have a favorite book to read in winter, although I do sometimes look for books that take place during the holidays or in winter time when I feel like cozying up and reading a wintry book. Question 3, if I could take a road trip with a character, who would that be? This is a really hard question and I honestly don't know, but the first thing that came to my mind was maybe somebody from Pride and Prejudice, because they always have those scenes in the coaches and that look really uncomfortable and terrible. But then they go somewhere and stay for a month with their cousin, so maybe I would take a road trip with Elizabeth Bennet. Next question, if you're a writer, what are you working on? I don't really think of myself as a writer, but I did attempt NaNoWriMo last November and I did win, so I got 50,000 words of a novel. That's not done, but what I decided to work on was a novel about a woman with CP, cerebral palsy, and her attempts at, entering the dating scene. Because we are getting more books with characters with disabilities for the young adult audience, but I feel like it's really lacking in books for, women in their 20s and 30s. Question 5 is favorite book published in this decade, so from 2010 until now. And this one was really tough for me because I tend to read used books and library books that tend to be older, and I gravitate toward classic YA fiction from the 80s. So my task was just to find books that I have read that are as new as 2010. Recently I finished reading Sisterhood Everlasting, which is from 2012 and is the final book in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series, and I really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than the original 4, so that's my pick for that one. Next question is, am I open to reading self-published books and do I have any favorites? The answer is yes, of course, absolutely. I think it's fun to read books from new and upcoming authors who aren't going through the traditional publishing route. The latest one I read was On the Island, which was really fun, just kind of a guilty pleasure book. 2 people stranded on the island together for years and how they survive and what happens to them, and I thought it was good and a lot of fun. The next is favorite book to movie adaptation. Of course I'm gonna go with Pride and Prejudice, but I also really love The Princess Bride and Forrest Gump, and those are 2 movies that I actually enjoyed more than the book, and I've made videos on them, I believe. So check those out if you're interested. The next is how many unread books do I own? And it is about 90. The next question is, what is the 17th book on my shelf? And I picked my YA shelf for this. My 17th book is The Burning Questions of Bingo Brown by Betsy Byers. This is from 1988. Betsy Byers is a pretty well-known YA author of her day, and I actually read this book pretty recently and it was really good. Bingo Brown is, like 6th grade, I think, and he falls in love with the girls in his class. It's just really intelligent and funny, and it has surprisingly serious issues in it. They're not allowed to wear shirts with words on them because somebody wears an offensive shirt or something, so they start a campaign for free speech through their clothing, and it was really good. And there are more of these books about Bingo Brown as he grows older, and I am super excited about reading them in the future. The last question is, what is my favorite sequel? And I would have to say that is Second Helpings, the sequel to Sloppy First by Megan McCafferty. I really enjoyed this series. I think it's really funny and very intelligent, a lot of fun to read, and I actually own the first 2 but not the last 3. I didn't like the last 3 as much, but the second one was definitely a very good sequel. That's it for those 10 questions. Technically, I'm supposed to come up with 10 questions of my own and tag 10 people, and I don't have that many questions or that many people to tag, so I'm gonna forgo that part. Thanks again for watching.